Welcome, everyone. It's awesome to have you here with me. I am bringing on a special guest today, Jeremy Sankey. How are you, Jeremy?
I'm good, thank you, Amy. How you going?
Yeah, good. It's great to have you on. I'm just going to give everyone a little bit of an intro to you if they're coming across you for the first time. You are the Director of Strategy and Insight at 𝒃𝒊𝒏𝒄𝒏. You are an expert when it comes to distilling customer insights and really helping brands interpret that data and really connect better with their audiences. And you've worked with brands like Mediacom, Procter & Gamble, Unilever and Mars, just to name a few. So it is awesome to have you here, Jeremy, and I'm keen to dive in.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my career has been in agencies for a number of years, different shapes and sizes, creative, media and market research. Throughout that, whatever agency it's been, my role has essentially been planning, strategy, research, depending on what the title might have been, working across those disciplines. So whether it's in communication development in creative agencies, media strategy development in media agencies, or doing research across all three. But what the key thing has been, an underlying foundation for me, has been my fascination in understanding people. That starts from my degree in psychology, I suppose, and probably before that's why I did a degree in psychology.
Yeah.
But what that translates to from a working perspective is in understanding people, understanding consumers, and helping clients solve marketing and communication and advertising questions. So things like, what do consumers think and feel and do? What do they want from a brand? How can we emotionally connect with them as well as rationally connect with them? And how can we reach and engage them? How are they using media? So it's understanding those things is what I have done and what I do. What I have also done, actually mentioned some of the clients I've worked on or with over the years, is across a range of categories from B2B, B2C, B2, anything else, is categories, clients and challenges, which gives me something which you get when you have a few more grey hairs, is depth of experience and expertise, which I can then apply to client projects.
Yeah, it's fantastic just to see like how much ground you've been able to cover in that space as well. And I always love hearing how people first get into what they're doing. And you mentioned sort of the psychology there and just your interest in people, because you have a really I would say unique ability to cross over from the data and the people. And we've had some conversations around, the data or data, depending on where you're from. It's not really my cup of tea, right? But you have a really good crossover ability to interpret that data and really make it make sense, which I think is why this is so valuable for the brands that you work with as well. And so I'd love to hear from you, Jeremy, around like over the course of your career and how it kind of developed. How did you sort of, I guess, end up running your own business, and how did that start for you?
Well, as I said, through my time, I've been in different agencies, and in late 2019, I was looking for a new role. And one of the things which, when I was talking to agencies at that point, was it was in a bit of a retail recession pre-COVID. So times were a little bit tight. People's budgets were a little bit tight, and what I found was that people liked, we had good conversations and did good discussions about opportunities, and they were very interested in my skill set and experience, but they just didn't want to commit to the headcount. So I saw, okay, there is a need for me, but maybe rather than having all of me, you could have part of me. And so my business, quite simply, is designed around working with a smallish number of agencies as a plug-in on-demand resource to do strategy and research for them. So that gives them the opportunity to have that strategic resource without having to have the headcount commitment.
Yeah, fantastic. So you really identified the need from where you were already in, the industry that you were already in, the skill set that you already had, and you thought, okay, well, how can I add value in a different way, and became that sort of on-demand resource, as you said, which is great.
It gives them more flexibility. And it was, sort of at that time thinking, sort of around having a little bit more flexibility about what I do. And one of the key things around working with a number of different agencies is I still get one of my main motivators, reasons for getting out of bed, is I love doing lots of different things. I love the variety of the work I do, whether it's strategy, qualitative work, quantitative work, whether it is a B2B client engagement or whether it is consumer. The variety of things is one of the things which keeps my brain ticking over.
Yeah, that's great. I personally love some variety in my work as well, which is awesome. And the flexibility that you mentioned as well, for a lot of people, they have the misconception sometimes that you just sort of start a business and you become this overnight success. We all know that it takes work and it takes initiative to get things going. However, I don't think there's anything better than having the ultimate flexibility over your own schedule and your own work life, which you've experienced as well, which is great.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. What were some of the things that popped up for you when you first sort of made that transition? Because I know for many people, that I speak to and people that are listening to this as well, they might sort of have that feeling in the back of their mind if they've achieved a really high level of success in their career and they're thinking about, what could be that next step, and perhaps a consultancy business is right for them. What are some of the things that you experienced in making that jump yourself?
Well, at that point, I suppose a lot of marketing budgets were being restricted, if not frozen, because people really were unsure about what was going on. Yep. So existing projects with existing clients were pretty thin on the ground. So my engagements were primarily around new business opportunities. So I worked with agencies, and if I worked with them on developing a response, and then they won it, then that would be an ongoing project. So it enabled them to pitch with less risk. And then it enables me to build those relationships with agencies and take it from there.
Fantastic. So you actually you didn't just solely rely on your existing network when things were tough. You actually sort of initiated new ways to work with people and created a win-win scenario.
Yeah, so that was a win-win situation as a opportunity to get into new agencies who I didn't have relationships with. Existing ones meant that one of the key things we found was that so as client budgets were a little bit tighter, was that agencies weren't doing and clients weren't doing development work through the early part of 2020 until really, I suppose, that whole financial year was quite tight. But after that, things have loosened up. People are developing new products. People are doing developmental work where they need research. So that side of things has developed as well. Both qualitative, helping brands develop, doing quantitative, assessing brand health, brand equity, and using those inputs into strategy development.
Yep. Fantastic. And so did you personally face any kind of trepidation or any kind of challenges yourself when you were kind of making that jump from going with, working with people in your existing network to then looking at new business development opportunities? How was that experience for you?
To be totally honest, there's always that first moment of when you have to make an initial contact with somebody new and different. Despite sort of many years in advertising, being able to present, but it's still that initial first moment of contact. So the tools and mechanisms and processes which help you do that are very important. Getting assistance around that, building confidence and process around that has been critical.
Yeah, fabulous. And you were already well established when we started working together as well. And I'd just be curious to hear from you, sort of now that you're in it, you're inundated with projects. I know at the moment, Jeremy, you're never short of work in your space. So what were some of the things that you sort of found, if you look back sort of from the early days to now, what are some of the things that perhaps you're doing a little bit differently to how you did in the beginning?
I suppose like a plumber always has a leaky tap. Marketers are often guilty of not being their best marketers about themselves. And I'm probably guilty as charged on that basis. I've been on LinkedIn for a long time from a marketing communications perspective. It's something which has been there, but I've been a observer rather than engager. So I needed to get onto the front foot and be more active in terms of engagement. I needed to work on developing my profile and positioning. I needed to work and develop my means and methods of contacting people.
Yep.
I built up a list of potential agencies to contact, and I fired out random contact requests, which got some success, got some smackdowns. That's what you learn.
Yeah.
Some of those work, some of them don't.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I was probably described as a little bit of a random shooter, spray and pray, until, part of the reasons why joining into you and the Aligned Tribe was a very useful thing.
Yeah, fantastic. And what did you find most useful? What were some of the key lessons that you learned when it came from being just a bit of an observer on LinkedIn to then actually becoming a little bit more active on the platform?
Probably one first word is probably discipline about it. And discipline and focus being sort of going, okay, so making sure that rather than doing things on a random basis is being much more organized. Being organized around what it is you're trying to say, who you're trying to say it to, and why they should be interested. Basic marketing stuff, but applying to yourself is always very difficult.
Yeah.
Easy to do it to a client, that's what I do day in, day out, but applying to yourself is way harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So working with people, the tribe and you helps to actually bring that home to what I should be doing about me, as opposed to and then maybe me to do what I do for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes as coaches and consultants out there, and, this is nothing about you, Jeremy, this is many people that I come across, is that we feel like we need to have all the answers sometimes, because that's what our clients rely on us for all of the time, is to have the answers. And sometimes it does sort of take getting out of your own way and stepping outside of yourself and maybe looking at things from a different angle and really starting to apply that for yourself, which is what you've done, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, as you say, it's about applying it and doing it for yourself. I mean, I have done many presentations and pitches on behalf of agencies to clients, and quite happy to do that. But when it's for yourself and personal, you are out of your comfort zone. So to have a community of people who helps you around that is a great benefit. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what do you love about the work that you're doing with clients at the moment? As I said, I know you've got a lot of projects always on the hop. So what are some of the things that you're working on right now that you're really enjoying?
As I said, I mean, what I enjoy is variety of it. So I've done, so in recent weeks and months, I've done projects from talking to pet owners about usage and attitudes, doing qualitative work around development of positioning for some brands, FMCG brands, developing communication strategy for some small goods in retail media support. Worked on developing a couple of media strategies for financial services, pitch. And for a B2B services supplier, so in different categories and stuff. So as I said, it's the range of tasks and the range of clients, the variety of it is, what makes my life interesting.
Yeah, fantastic. And what's the plan for the future, Jeremy? I'd be really curious to know, where do you want to take your business? If we were chatting in 12 months' time from now, where do you want to be in your business? Because I know you already had a really successful established business when we started working together. So where do you want to take it from here?
What I've seen in, the last financial year since mid-21 is consistent month-on or quarter-on-quarter growth, which has been really good. My year-on-year growth, financial year on financial year, is currently up 50% on where I was at the end of last year already. Just after the end of year, heading to the end of Q3 now. So the growth on the business has been good. I want to maintain that momentum and lock it in. So that it continues rather than being waves. So the growth comes from getting the relationships at the top. I'm looking to build more relationships with agencies, some new and different agencies. Always good and always welcome to have conversations with, to engage with them and continue to get projects from them. So that then delivers me consistency of opportunities. To build out the back end of the business, not necessarily taking on employees, but working with virtual employees. I found solutions around some of the more technical, mundane stuff to work with people who can do that for me, so that focus enabling that to be done to enable me to focus on doing what I enjoy doing and do best, which is, you know, developing ideas, strategies, and insights.
Yeah, fabulous. Sounds like a great plan. And that 50% year-on-year growth is pretty good as well. So let's keep that momentum rolling, hey?
That's what I want to do. It's the plan.
Brilliant, brilliant. And if there's anyone listening to this, Jeremy, that might be at all different stages of their coaching or consulting business, so say maybe they're just starting out, or they have a few clients that they rely on from their existing network, but they know that they need to start reaching out to people outside of their existing network in order to grow. What are some of the things that you've learned along your journey that you think would be really helpful to share with them?
I think, LinkedIn provides a very good tool. I mean, certainly in terms of the types of organizations I work, my niche is small, medium-sized agencies, and probably 99.99% of them are on LinkedIn. So that is, you know, the ecosystem, the habitat where they can be found. So if you're dealing with clients or organizations who are on LinkedIn, it makes sense to use that as probably your primary communication tool. And certainly in the last few years, sort of the online digital Zoom-based communication has been critical, because in person has been somewhat challenged. So LinkedIn has, you know, come to the fore. So making sure that your profile is updated, looks good. It's a constant evolving thing. And I was looking at it yesterday, and I'm about to go on another refresh of it. Because things have changed. So it's time to update and new. So to keep it new and different. But that still remains, LinkedIn would be my primary contact tool. Yeah,
that's great. I think it's with business, you know, it's always evolving. And I think that being a lifelong learner is really important as well. And the minute you think you know everything, that's when you get into trouble.
And that, I mean, I must admit, something which I've enjoyed over the last couple of years, having the flexibility to jump into different learning and stuff, which is where I came across you. I was on General Assembly. They were great through lockdowns, as, you know, so their means to keep learning and developing. And I mean, one of my little mantras, mottos, whatever you want to call it, is a good day is when you have a learning day. And every day should be a good day. So you should learn something new and different every single day. And that's, sort of, whether that's something which I apply to myself or apply on behalf of the client, is I love new knowledge and gaining that. And that's super critical.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that's, really insightful as well, is that always sort of evolving and changing and always learning as well, because if anything the last couple of years have taught us is that we can't just rely on the same old anymore. We kind of have to revamp and adapt as we go as well. And I think for some people out there, you know, when it comes to investing in themselves in business, whether that means financially or emotionally or energy wise and time wise as well, they can be, you know, sometimes a little bit worried that it might not pay off, or if they're making the right kind of decision as well. And I would just be really curious from you, like, you know, having invested in yourself over the course of your journey, you know, and working, you know, in my program as well, I'd be really curious if you had any sort of advice for people that might be a little bit hesitant about backing themselves and doing that in business.
I suppose, I mean, it's because what I'm talking to clients about is about investing in the business, investing in the brand, and to a certain extent I need to apply that to myself, and anybody who's thinking about it needs to apply it to themselves, which is to get that initial push, get that initial momentum, you know, to start the ball rolling, and make sure that what you're doing, how you present yourself, is your best possible face. So you don't want to go out there looking a little bit disheveled and scruffy. You want to, sort of brush your teeth, brush your hair, and to make sure everything is looking spick. And that then is investing in yourself. Equally, you would want to invest in your business to make sure that your business is presented to the best possible way. That you've got an understanding of how best to find and engage with potential clients, potential customers, and the best mechanisms, vehicles, and platforms to do that. So it is well worth having some input, help, and guidance in terms of finding that.
Yeah, fantastic. Is there anything else that you have kind of learned that might have surprised you along this journey as well?
LinkedIn does provide a good tool in terms of helping people find you. So I get sort of requests from unknowns, so you can see who that unknown is, so you can check them out and find out more about them. Yeah. But it's LinkedIn is a great platform. As I said, 99% of my potential clients are on it, so I can see more. I can find out more about them as individuals or as an agency. Their agency 9 times out of 10 equally would be represented on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I get an understanding of who works there. Is there other people I know who work there? So you can build up a bit of depth of contact. You can look at who their clients are and what they do, and then that helps guide your research about finding more about them. So you can start a conversation with without being a stalker, but you can start an informed conversation with somebody who is a new prospect. And they can do the same about you. They can look at you and see what you do, who you work with. So LinkedIn is a great tool for finding and to be found by potential clients. Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I really appreciate your insights shared today, Jeremy, as well around what you do. And I would absolutely encourage people to reach out, particularly agencies that are looking for that plug-in on-demand resource that Jeremy is. And so where can people go and find you, Jeremy? And this is a bit of a trick question, but where can people go and find you if they want to connect with you and learn more? Well, of course, I am on LinkedIn, Jeremy Sankey. You'll find me on LinkedIn. I've also got a website, a business website we have at distilledstrategy.com. Yep,
fabulous. Really appreciate your time, Jeremy. And I know that you're doing some really impactful work with your clients and being able to share those great insights with their consumers as well. So thank you so much for being on today.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Amy.